Long way. Get this shit a long way. Get this shit a long way. Long way. Hit the long way. 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 Shit. Long way. Long shit. Long way. Long way. Long way. Long way. Long way. Long way. Get this shit a long way. Gotta get this shit a long way. Get this shit a long way. Finish rich, yeah. Gotta get this shit a long way. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, she don't understand. She be tripping every day, she be tripping every way. But I gotta get this shit a long way, yeah. Tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, yeah. Get money every single way, every day. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. I'm feeling like we be the new slaves. No, we gotta finish rich. No, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand. She don't understand. Niggas gotta get rich. She don't understand. Sometimes we gotta hit lit. No, we ain't hit lit. Tryna get the long way, yeah. Tryna get this shit the long way, yeah. Coach is tryna wrap up an entree, yeah. Told you the other day that did my phone strong. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Yeah, get this shit the long way. My bitch be trippin' back and forth like a phone way. My name is Tari, I ain't playing games, so I'm done Tari. Yesterday she told me that she bout to leave, man. Said fuck it, bitch, we gonna get some money. Said fuck it, bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I want to get some money, yeah. Cause we gon' get this shit the long way, we gon' get shit the long way, yeah. Back and forth like the pong way, yeah. Man, I'ma get this shit the long way, get this shit the long way. Just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy. We gotta wear a mask, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day. We be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay for me, yeah. So we gon' get this shit the long way, 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 yeah, we get shit the long way, yeah, cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, yeah, we gon' get the long way, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another edition of Savings Minus Debt. I'm your host and the founder of SMD. I'm LJ. SMD is a family. I'm not SMD. I'm LJ. Okay, I just created SMD. SMD is a family. A family of who, you might ask, right? Well, let me introduce myself first, and then you'll know. I'm a 100% debt-free motivational speaker and personal finance educator. I have a gift that I share. What is my gift? The ability to see negative numbers psychologically. It's just a fancy way of saying I trust the calculator, something that millions of people do not. And if you're new to the channel, I always run this through real quick so you can kind of understand, well, what do you mean you can see negative numbers psychologically? For those of you that believe you're a homeowner with a mortgage, okay, period, not 30, you just say a mortgage. Those of you that believe you're a homeowner with a mortgage, I want you to open up your calculator and I want you to put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, meaning what you have left to pay off the home. Mortgage payment minus mortgage balance and hit equal, okay? As you're looking at the calculator, I want you to just listen to the sound of my voice. The reason why you believe you're a homeowner is because you cannot see negative numbers psychologically. You can obviously see them physically because you're looking at your calculator now and you see a large negative number. Does the calculator say you're a homeowner? No? Then why do you believe you are? I'm telling you, because you cannot see negative numbers psychologically. That's my gift. So, little backstory about me. I was just like you in the debt matrix. The debt matrix is a place where slaves live. Now, there's two kinds of slave: unconscious slave and conscious slave. Okay, And you're probably thinking, well, what is the debt matrix? The best way I can describe it, the debt matrix is the space between your calculator and your brain. Like you're looking at the negative number on your calculator, but by the time it reaches your brain, you believe you're a homeowner with equity. The debt matrix is where the banks live. That's where they set up shop. They help you believe in the debt matrix that you can buy things with no money of your own. That's what that's there for. Okay? Again, you're looking at the negative number in your calculator. By the time it passes from your calculator through the debt matrix and then to your brain, you believe you're a homeowner with equity. And you believe the values that you see on Google, think it applies to you while you have a mortgage. You live in the debt matrix. You're what's called an unconscious slave. That was me. All the way from 18 up to about the age 40, 41. That's when I started waking up and realizing something was wrong. College educated, six-figure earning, college degree, a six-figure earning job, engineer, all that fancy stuff that debt matrix people make you believe, debt slaves make you believe you're some kind of high value man. No, I was a high value six-figure earning slave. That's what I was. Unconscious, of course. Totally unconscious. Here I am, college educated, don't even know how to apply math to my own finances. Then I came across Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey says, basically take the arithmetic that we all learned in grade school, elementary school, and apply it to your finances using these baby steps. And that's what I did. I couldn't believe it. That's what it was. That's it. That was it. So I follow Mr. Ramsey's rules all the way down to where he says, hey, when you pay off all your debt and get down to your mortgage, start putting away 15% away in retirement. Well, according to the laws of mathematics, you cannot do that with a mortgage. See that negative number on your calculator? That's how much money you have. That's 15% of that number that you see on your calculator when you do your mortgage payment, your mortgage balance. What you see on the calculator, you take 15% from that and start putting away into retirement. That's what you do. You're probably thinking, what do you mean? I can't put away negative numbers into retirement. Exactly. You can't. I didn't know that. I didn't know because I kept my student loans for 10 years. I didn't know I couldn't put away money in retirement while I have student loan debt. I did not know that. That's 100% impossible. I can't do that. Mr. Brett. And then I just took Mr. Ramsey's scale. I said, hey, wait a minute. No, that's not true. That's called business. So when he tells people that, hey, when you get down to your mortgage, start putting away 15%, that's called business. Nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's illegal about it. It's not bad. It's nothing. It's your problem if you don't trust the calculator. That's your problem. You understand? Then I stripped that out. I stripped out all the religion. Religion has nothing to do with mathematics. None of that has. Nothing. And then you get down to the basics. And long story short, 5 years later, now I'm sharing you my gift, the ability to see negative numbers psychologically. That's my gift. Came out all that. I came out all that bull. That is straight 100% bullshit. Anybody you come across that you believe is high value, have money, you ask them, do you have student loans and for how long? If they tell you their whole entire life, you cut them off. Those are debt slaves. That was me till I woke up. Now I'm here sharing my gift. A gift hidden in plain sight. The whole economy is psychological. It's totally psychological. Hidden in plain sight. It is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely magnificent. It's a superpower and it's a gift that I would never tarnish, never abuse it, never. That's why I'm here on this sharing you now. So that leads a segue into this video. Now, actually, there's going to be two videos I'm going to review for you guys outside the debt matrix. Okay. And before we even watch and review this video, this is what I want you to do, because pretty much everybody knows how to log into their online credit report, right? I want you to log in there Credit Karma, Experian, I don't know which one. You probably have one. If you catch, especially if you catch this video later, log in there. As soon as you log in, this big, gigantic number is going to pop in your face. I want you to take that number, write it down on a piece of paper, and then I want you to put a negative in front of it. You put a negative in front of it. And that's how much money you have to do anything this guy tells you in this video. Okay. Now, Chris Crone, I believe his name is. Now I want you to understand something so you guys understand. I'm giving you guys a mathematical perspective. Nothing saying that he's wrong, he's lying, he's tricking you. He's just doing business. There's absolutely nothing wrong. When I go through this video, there's nothing wrong that he's doing. He's actually doing everything right for unconscious slaves that cannot see negative numbers. That's called business. That's your problem if you don't trust the calculator. That is your problem. That large negative number, that's how much money you have to buy your house, investing, investment properties. That's how much money you have to invest. Okay. Always remember that as we go through this video. Okay. Now let me bring this up here. Oh, is it share screen? 1 second. I'm getting used to this thing here. No, those are slides. Wow, they added something here. 1 second here. Share screen, I think it is. Okay, Chrome tab. All right, here we go. All right, so we are going to go through this video, okay? But we are going to do it mathematically. Understand? We're going to do it mathematically. Let me see how I can lay this out. Hopefully I can. Oh, okay, I can do that. I just want to make sure. Okay, we're going to go through this mathematically. Oops, that's the wrong one. 1 second here. Let me get the right one. Now, again, he's not doing anything wrong. He's not lying to his customers. He's not tricking people. He's doing business. Nothing is wrong with what he's doing. I'm just saying, like, when I watch the video, these videos are clearly not for me because I trust the calculator. Okay? All right, let me play this. And give me a 1 to make sure you guys can hear everything okay. All right, here we go.
Guys, check it out. Guess what's happening? What? 40-year mortgages are going to potentially become the norm.
What?
Do you know what that means?
No.
It means more cash flow, more money, and way easier opportunity to become millionaires in real estate. You don't get it. Guys, let's make a video. This is going to be awesome. 1.
All right, first, 40-year mortgages are coming because that's the only thing you guys have to do. That's the only thing that's going to be able to save you from getting kicked out of your house, because you guys are so far behind on mortgage payments, you'll never be able to catch up. So they had to come up with 40-year mortgages, because if they didn't, we would have a housing market crash, because all of you would be getting kicked out of your homes. So 40 years is the new standard for you. Okay, 40-year mortgages, they're going to take all the missed payments. This is what it really is, so you guys can understand how it works. Okay, they're going to take all of your payments that you missed, and then they're going to refinance you into a 40-year mortgage and get back triple the money they lost in 1 year. They're going to get it triple back. That's why they're going to. And for you, you're going to think, wow, it's going to save my house, because you believe you're a homeowner with a mortgage. No. The house is nothing without you. You are the money. The person in the house. If the house is just there, that means that's no money. The money is you. Okay? The equity is you.
1.
Here's all the props to get you guys to believe: cars, houses, boats, all the bullshit. It's just anything shiny, you guys will believe.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go. I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. My friend Dolph DeRoos, who's an international investor and mentor of mine, talks about how all over the world, people have already embraced the 40-year mortgage. And you don't understand, like going from a 30-year mortgage.
Of course, they're embracing it all over the world. People all over the world couldn't pay their mortgages. Of course, that's an obvious. Okay, when you guys understand, when you guys outside the debt matrix, that's obvious. Of course, they're all over the world adopting it. They have to. People don't want to, quote, lose their houses. No, they don't want to lose you out of them houses. They get nothing. If they kick you guys out the houses, they get nothing. Of course, 40-year mortgages.
To a 40-year sounds insane. People are going to freak out and be like, Chris, we're never going to get our houses paid off in 40 years. Are you kidding? And I'm like, this is the best thing since sliced bread, baby. Dude, people just don't get it. Like, this is the most exciting thing. Let's just say for a moment, $300,000. And you're like, okay, well, let's just say for a moment that we
understand this. The definition of a buy equals cash. Okay? There is no other way to buy a house. If you want to buy a house, you have to have $300,000 in cash. If you don't have the cash, that means you're going to finance the house. See how he's using the word, hey, if you bought a house, that's not the same thing. Okay? When you say buy, that means money.
we do a 30-year mortgage. And on a 30-year mortgage on that, let's just call it $1,800. But if you could actually get the bank to give you a 40-year mortgage, your payment could maybe drop to, let's just call it $1,400. Okay, I'm making these numbers up. But if my rent on this property, let's just say is $2,300. If I'm renting it for $2,300 and my 30-year mortgage was $1,800, then that would be a delta of a $500 a month positive cash flow. But on a 40-year mortgage, if I have a payment of $1,400, guess what it adds? That's a difference of $400 more a month. My cash flow is now $900 a month. Now, I know what you're thinking.
We're going to pause it right there. Now let's do the proper math, okay? Because he did the math for debt slaves. Debt slaves cannot see negative numbers. He comes up with these imaginary numbers, 500 this, a positive cash flow of something. You think you can borrow the bank's money and then take their money and buy a house and you're automatically in positive cash flow? No, you're not. You're not in positive cash flow till the bank gets back their money first. Okay, so let's do the actual math so you guys can understand. So let me see if I can open up another tab. Whoops. Okay, 1 second here. Let's do this. Stop share screen. 1 second here. Share screen. Shoot. Oh, new tab. There we go. All right. So let's actually do the correct math. All right. The 300,000 minus, whoops, no. 2,300, the positive cash flow that he was talking about, right? How much the rent he had to pay or something like that, right? Minus, the money that he made up that he thought he was going to be making from renters, okay? All right, so 2,300 minus 300,000 equals what? Negative $297,700. That's not cash flow. That's negative cash flow. That's negative. He's nowhere near positive cash flow. Do you understand? Now let's share this. Stop that. Share this over here. Whoop. Yeah. Get back to the 40-year mortgage video.
more dollars a month, my cash flow is now $900 a month. And I know what you're thinking. Chris, you crazy? You're never going to get that thing paid off. I do not want to pay off the home. I'm controlling it. So what's
He just told everybody he's controlling something that he doesn't even own. If you don't pay off the house, that means it's the bank's house. He thinks he's telling you guys that he's controlling the bank's house. No, you're not. You don't control the house. The bank does. But again, what he's doing is business. If you guys don't trust mathematics, that's your problem. Okay, remember that when I'm saying, if you don't trust math, that's your problem.
leading to this whole 40-year mortgage thing? Let's understand it. The Mortgage Bankers Association latest forbearance and call volume survey revealed that the total number of loans in forbearance is down now to 3.87% as of June 27, 2021, from a peak of 8.55% in June 2020. According to MBA's estimate, 1.9 million homeowners are still with forbearance plans. All right, maybe you're not aware, let me catch you up. So the government says,
those are all the people that are going to be doing they're going to refinance into 40-year mortgages. That's what all that stuff you just read. If you're a debt slave, I promise you this, if you're an unconscious debt slave that can't see negative numbers, you guys don't know what any of that means. None of it. What it really means is that look at all the people that are going to be refinancing to 40-year mortgages because they have to, or at least that's what they believe. They believe they have to. If they want to, quote, keep their home. They have to. They're never going to catch up with that much payments. They know you're not going to be able to catch up with over a year's not making mortgage payments. You was probably barely making, because debt slaves live month to month. You guys got to understand that. Debt slaves live month to month. Of course, you guys will never be able to catch up, but you were barely making the monthly payment. You think you're going to catch up with over a year's worth of payments, mortgage payments? No, you're not. They're going to make sure all of you guys qualify for it, okay? All of you.
yo, we are shutting down this economy. That means that you can't go to work. And if you can't go to work, you probably can't pay your mortgage. We don't want you to not be able to make your payment. We don't want you to like go into foreclosure. So we're going to do two things. We're going to say, banks, you're not allowed to foreclose on people that can't afford their payments. And then they said, people, if you can't make your payments, you don't need to make your payments. We're going to call it forbearance. We're just going to forbear or wait for a while. And at some future point, we'll, let you start making payments again. Well, everyone was terrified that when forbearance comes to an end, what is it going to mean? Oh my gosh, people won't be able to make their payments. All these homes are going to go back to the bank. We're going to have all of this big mortgage crisis. We're going to have foreclosures coming out of our ears.
So how many of you?
That's not happening. Look.
Did you hear what he just said? Did you guys hear what he just said? I just told you that. I just said that. He's telling you the truth. If that happened, we would have a whole housing market crash. They don't want that. Do you understand? That cannot happen. That cannot happen. If they actually let that happen and you guys woke up and realized that you were not homeowners with mortgages, a lot of you guys would wake up and say, hey, wait a minute, I've been paying on this house for 20 years. You mean I've never been the homeowner the whole entire time? Nope, you sure haven't. And let me tell you, I know this sounds weird. I don't even want that. I don't want that. That's bad. I don't want that.
Look at this. Forbearance was at 8.5%. Now it's down to 3.8, which means that we've gotten rid of like 60% of those forbearances. It means that the economy is doing really well. It means people are getting back to work. It means people are saying, hey, you know what? I can make my payments. So even though I could forbear, I'm not. Well, one of the US government's mortgage administrations, Ginnie Mae, is really concerned. They're like, oh my gosh, if we still have forbearance around 3.5%, 4%, these people may never come off of forbearance. You know what we should do? We should consider putting them in a 40-year mortgage. Check this out. Ginnie Mae recently said it would help eligible borrowers transition from forbearance into a loan modification for up to 40 years. This is significant.
Do you guys understand how much money Jenny Mae, what is it? Jenny Mae is going to make. Do you guys understand that? You don't really understand what that means. I promise you, you don't. They're going to make so much money. You guys don't even get it. Of course you're going to a 40-year mortgage. Of course.
Since Ginnie Mae backs the loans made through the Federal Housing Administration, FHA, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, as well as other loans. In other words, if you've got some type of government-backed loan right now, this could apply to you. Of the 1.86 million loans in forbearance, only a fraction of those mortgages are ultimately going to be eligible for this Ginnie Mae 40-year term. What makes the difference? All borrowers can apply for this loan modification if they can no longer afford their mortgage after their forbearance expires. In other words, the government's trying to take.
See how they make it sound there at the end? If they can no longer afford their mortgage after the forbearance. Of course you can't. They already know you're not going to be able to afford it. They already know that. You are the only one that doesn't know it. Why? Because you cannot see negative numbers. That's why. You really believe it takes 30 years to pay off a house. Now you're going to believe it takes 40. Did you hear what I said? First, they already had you believing that it takes 30 years to pay off a mortgage. Now you're going to believe it's 40. But guess what? You'll never make it to the end of 40. That's why they're going to front load everything, get back all their money, and then kick you out. You're not going to be able to, you're never going to make it to a 40-year, never. They know that too.
Take some level of accountability and say, hey, we know we pushed this forbearance thing on you in the first place, but we got to get out of it. Like, we're not going to get to like normal living again if we can't like end this forbearance thing. So they're trying to be helpful and say, maybe we can take you struggling human beings and put you in some type of 40-year mortgage. And maybe that's good enough so we can get payments rolling again and start collecting some money and get back on track. I want the 40-year mortgage to become.
It's weird, man. It's almost like, as I'm listening to him, he's telling you he's telling you the truth, right? It's weird. It's like we're trying to get you guys going so these payments can keep coming, because basically we don't want that money to stop. So we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure you keep them payments coming. It's like they're telling you, but you can't hear it because you're in the negative. You're only focused in on keeping the house.
Become the norm. But this is what it looks like for those with forbearance. Eligibility requirements include that you do not qualify for a refinance loan. Like, if you can't refinance out of it, they're going to like, well, then we're going to give you a 40-year.
If you're over a year behind on your mortgage, year and a half, of course you're not going to be able to qualify for a refinance, okay? Of course not. You are too deep, way too deep.
Term. There's been a long-term change to your financial situation, or you're facing other hardships that prevent.
Of course, there was a worldwide problem. Of course. See, it's just how you look at it. Did you suffer some? Of course, there was a worldwide problem. Of course, there was.
Prevent you from affording original mortgage payments. So, dude, if things have just gone downhill for you, if you haven't returned back to some type of financial norm, they're going to say, hey, then we're going to show some leniency and we're going to get you in this 40-year mortgage thing. It's going to drop your payments lower. And finally,
they're going to show you some leniency by wrapping you up in a 40-year mortgage. So check this out. You take all the years that you've been in the house already, right? Add how many years? So if you've been in your house for 20, you add 40 more years to that, okay? You add 40 more years to the house that you're already, so you're going to be in that house for like 60 years? You're going to be paying, listen, you're going to be paying on a house for 60 years. Come on, man. You cannot be that asleep. You cannot. You cannot be that asleep to believe you're going to be paying on a house for 60 years.
Finally, if you're several months late on your mortgage payments, or highly likely to fall behind, they're definitely going to refinance you into this 40-year term. And I got to say, man, I wish that is something I could qualify for on every one of my homes. Let me share a bit of hopium with you. Could this become the norm? I can only hope so. Ginnie Mae could be using this opportunity to test if the 40-year mortgage will work with consumers. I hope.
Look how they just told everybody, look how much money we're making in the UK. 51% of UK mortgages have refinanced to a 40-year mortgage. So they're telling people here, look how much money they're making over in the UK, 51%. You better get on this. Not the side that they're seeing the debt slaves. There's a different side to invest in. There's a totally different side. But they're telling you, look how much money we're making in the UK, 51%.
That's a yes.
Fingers crossed.
51%, by the way, of United Kingdom mortgages are already on that 40-year game. And that's actually common in a lot of other countries around the world. Dolph DeRoos sees that on.
See how they're telling you? They're telling you, hey, look how much money we're making in the UK. And it's common on every other capitalist economy. That's what they're telling you. Every other capitalist economy is doing the same thing. You better get in on some of this money. We're killing the game. We're killing the game. It looks like the way he's showing that 51%, I guess the US ain't been up to that number yet. So it's time to get in early.
On a regular basis when he invests internationally, he's in love with the 40-year mortgage because think about what happens to your cash flow. It literally could nearly double on a property, and that would be a really awesome thing. And finally, we're hoping that there's going to be some pressure from investors to banks to adopt this 40-year mortgage because they're going to generate a lot more interest revenue. This could actually really stimulate the economy and make it easier for people to say, you know what? Why aren't I an investor? So-and-so isn't making $300 a month on a.
You know, man, let me tell you something. I ain't even gonna front. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you something. I swear to God, he sound like he's talking to me. Not what you guys are hearing. Okay, not what you guys are hearing. It sounds like he's telling me and people like me that can hear something. And it's not something. It's like to how to make some money, some real money.
On a property, they're making $800 a month on a property. Shoot, you buy 10 of those and that's $100,000 a year. So let's talk about the short-term effects of this. First of all, there will be smaller monthly payments. There will be more people that are going to be able to afford a home, and investors can cash flow properties a lot easier. But the long-term effects might be working a little bit against us. Check it out. It could be harder to build equity in the home, which, by the way, I don't actually agree with that from this article. It basically says you'll be paying it down slower. I'm like, dude, most people do not get their equity from paying it down, but from owning a home and watching it appreciate, and that doesn't change.
Okay. Let me tell you something. If you refinance into a 40-year mortgage, you ain't going to have equity for forever. Okay. You're not going to have equity at all. So I want you to notice how he switches to owner. He's saying the owner of the properties, the value of the home goes up. Okay. But if you have a 40-year mortgage, you are not the owner. The bank is the owner. So let's go back one little quick step so I can see.
Do not get their equity from paying it down.
Let's go.
You'll be paying it down slower. I'm like, dude, most people do not get their equity from paying it down, but from owning a home and watching it appreciate. And that doesn't change whether you have a 30 or 40 or 15-year, whatever mortgage, right? Number two.
Now, I don't know what he means by it never changes. I'm not sure what that meant. All right. He just kind of threw that in there. I want you to understand, so that don't mean anything what he just said. Hey, yes, it does. Only for the owners, okay? You got a 40-year mortgage, you ain't got no equity, and you never will.
Increased affordability could create increased demand for homes. Like right now, we already have a supply and demand problem. We have people wanting homes like crazy. If they were to institute something like this, we could see that demand increase all the more. And finally, home prices could spike to account for affordability. In other words, if they enacted something like this, it's probably going to push home prices higher even faster.
Okay, so this is what I want you to do. Remember that number I told you to get in the beginning of the video? That's how much money you have to buy a house. Okay? If you just coming on to the live, I want you to think about this. I want you to log into your bank account, okay? That's how much money you have to buy a house in cash. All right. That's how much money you have to buy. You don't have enough, then don't worry about what housing prices are doing. That's none of your business. Don't worry about it. Because you ain't got no money to buy a house. Don't worry about what housing prices are doing. If they're spiking, if they're rolling, if they're tumbling, it doesn't matter. You ain't got no money to buy a house. Don't worry about it.
You know, as nice as a 40-year mortgage honestly would be, can you really beat what's happening in the real estate market right now? I mean, last year I made millions and millions and millions of dollars literally just because I own a lot of homes. Hence, a lot of investors are trying to get their hands on.
Did you hear what he said? Now I want you guys to understand something, okay? Because debt slaves, you guys don't know the difference between business and personal. Now he's switching over to business. Okay, he's switching over to business, and you are listening. You got to listen to the keywords he's using. He owns these homes. He owns them. Own means he doesn't have mortgages. Not saying that he does or doesn't. I'm just going by his words, okay? Most likely he probably does, but listen, he owns them. You don't own anything if you have a mortgage. Understand that. You don't own anything if you have a mortgage.
On really good properties. Problem is, it's hard to get a good deal because there's so much competition out there. A lot of people all over the world that subscribe to my channel, been watching me for a long time, or watch thousands of my videos, or TikTok or Instagram or wherever you're watching me, YouTube, podcast. They're basically saying, okay, Chris, I see you've done $1 billion of this game. You've done 5,000 single family homes. How I can go faster is if I partner with you. And that is actually a direct possibility.
Uh-oh. Okay, this is where he's plugging business. All right. Sounds like some kind of MLM or something that you're going to pay to play, and you'll be on some kind of tier and some tree, some branches, all that bullshit, all that MLM bullshit. And it's going to tie you right in there. Why? Because you have no money. That piece of paper I have you write down, that negative number, that's how much money you have to partner up with Chris. Okay. Just remember that.
Can't partner with everybody because I'm limited in the number of really, really good deals that I can buy. But on a regular basis, I am accepting applications for new partners. And if you'd like to partner with me, or if you'd like to go and do real estate yourself, or if you just want to learn how to take advantage of this economy, what you're really going to need is a financial game plan. Turns out I actually have in the link below a really cool little video that's going to ask you a bunch of little questions. And if you answer them, a member of my team will reach out and provide a custom game plan. They'll literally take a look at where you're at in your life and say, all right, if you wanted to be financially free in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, step by step, this is exactly how you do it. And if you don't have a game plan for making millions of dollars, I'm sorry, sucks to be you. Don't suck. Click the link below. Get your free game plan. Speaking of 40-year mortgages, someone's out there watching this getting really upset. You're going to see it in the comments below. They're going to say, Chris, you're never going to get that home paid off. I got news for you. I don't want to pay off the home. I never want to pay off the home. And if you're a little confused as to why, I made a video for you. Check this one out. Be eligible for Ginnie Mae's 40-year.
Wow. I don't want to pay off the home. I never want to pay off the home. That's for you guys, okay? Because they know you are never going to pay off the home. You're not. All that is for you. All of that is called business. All of that is business. There's nothing wrong with he's doing. He's not doing anything mean. He's not doing it. I'm just saying it's just business. But he's not talking. Well, I think he is and isn't, honestly, because some of the things he was saying, he was basically telling the people that understand money, hey, look what we're doing in all these other countries. Look what we already accomplished in the UK. We already converted over 50% of those guys into 40-year mortgages. That's big. Do you guys know how big that is? If those numbers are true, because I'm not going to go research it anyway. But I'm assuming it's true if Chris put it on his show, okay? 51% converted into 40-year mortgage. You guys know how big that is? That's big. That's big news, baby. Big news. They're like, we're about to save our economy. There was a housing market crash about to happen. They came in and swooped and saved the day with 40-year mortgages. Sure did. You guys are the only ones that don't know. You'll never be able to catch it. You live month to month, check to check. You think you're going to catch up with a year's worth of mortgages, a year's worth of past late mortgages? No, you are not. Especially you guys with subprime mortgages. Oh man, no, FHA, VA, first-time home buyer, all that bullshit. You guys are going nowhere. You guys are going straight into 40-year mortgages. Oh my God, this is going to save my house. Sure is. That's what you think. That's what you think, that slave. That plan is the 40. Let me tell you something. That 40-year plan, that is absolutely brilliant. I did not know how they were going to prevent this this housing market crash. I had no idea. I'm in the stadium with my popcorn. I'm watching. I knew they were going to stop it because that can't happen. I just didn't know how they were going to do it. 40-year mortgages. I was like, God damn, that was bad. Right. Down payment money. Sure will. Hey, we want to help you with your down. Listen, if they have to help you with your down payment, now listen to me closely. If they have to, you can't even come up with the down payment on the house, you are in financial trouble. Do you understand? You are in financial trouble. You have no money to even put down on the house. You borrow the down payment money with interest, and then you get a subprime mortgage, no money, and then all of a sudden they put you in the house and you think you're a homeowner. That shit is absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. You know how many people, like, it's so bananas. You know how many people, like on my Facebook, man, I was talking to this one dude. I was like, hey man, just put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal. I said, does the calculator say you're a homeowner? I mean, these guys would not believe I said, look at the calculator. Does it say you're a homeowner? They just would not. Hey man, but what about the value? It goes up, man. I'd rather take this money. It's amazing to watch the program, right? Oh, I'll take this money. I'd rather invest it in 10 homes, bring back this positive cash flow. And then I wish I could just look at the bank and say, how in the fuck did you guys do that? How did you guys do that? How did you guys do that? Got unconscious slaves putting properties in their financial portfolios of properties that they don't even fucking own. And then they take that shit to the bank and they say, hey, look, bank, I want another loan. Look at my financial portfolio. Can you imagine what the bank, when they look at that, be like, God damn, everything in his financial portfolio, our name is on it. And this guy think he owns something. Is he looking at the same financial portfolio as we? No, he can't see negative numbers. They probably just laugh and giggle. Oh man. You have no idea. It's like you just, hey man, you can't tell a debt slave this. Is, hey man, you know, when I look through your financial portfolio, but I see your name and basically your name and the bank's name on everything in your financial portfolio, sir. You know, they'll look at you like a deer in headlights. Well, what are you talking about? I'm the owner of all those properties. They're like, damn, that shit is some powerful shit. With this video here with Chris, I swear to God, it's almost like he's talking to debt slaves and he was talking to people that understand money. Okay, that's what I get. At first I was watching, I was so concentrated on all the things that don't make any mathematical sense, just kind of writing it down. I'm thinking, wait a minute, whoa, wait a minute, 51% in the UK, holy shit! That means it sounds like the UK is ahead of us. I'm assuming the UK, by those numbers, if those numbers are true, that means the UK is ahead of us getting their shit getting rolled into the new economy. Because from here on this point on, You and all your children will believe 40-year mortgages is the normal. You guys are going to believe the 40-year mortgages is the new standard, and that's what it is. And you guys will share that with your children, your children's children, and your children's children. That's how you'll say. You think, hey, man, that's this how it is. No, it's not. If you want to stay a debt slave until you're dead, yeah, that's cool. But if you one of these people walking around, these unconscious slaves walking around, listening to videos like this, you guys are part of the program. You're just running the program. Yes, you are. You're just running the program. Hey, take this. Why pay off a house when I can take this money and buy 10 properties? And you guys always use the word buy like you guys don't even know the definition of buy. You guys think you think you can buy a house with a mortgage. No, you can't. You cannot buy a house with a mortgage. You can't. You can finance a house with a mortgage. You can't buy a house with a mortgage. So anybody you hear talking about they're buying property, they're buying a house, you turn to them and say, hey, you buying that in cash? They're going to look at you like hell no, man. This is when they run the program. Nah, man, I would, but that would be dumb. I'm going to take I'm going to put money down payment, and then I'm going to take this and invest in the rest. You guys all say that. You guys all say that. You guys don't know you all say that, but you guys all say that. It's a program. Ashley says, and I heard in the UK, many homeowners don't even own the land that their mortgage house is on. New York is like that too. Oh yeah, that's here too. I remember the first time I heard this. I never even heard this. Hey man, yeah, I own a house, but I don't own the mineral rights under my house. I was like, what? What's that? You don't own the mineral rights. What? You own the property, but you don't. Underneath the grass and the dirt, you mean if the mineral rights? You don't. No. Who owns it? Somebody bought that over 200 years ago. What? Huh? That's weird. Why would they buy something like that? There's a reason for that. But if you have a mortgage, if you believe you own a house and with a mortgage, you'll never know that. That is none of your business, because that you get to that level, that's in cash, baby. That's cash. You're not borrowing money to own some mineral rights. Sure is a long time. And I did have one more of his videos that I want. Let me see what this is. 1 second. Let me see what this. Okay, I got one more of his videos. All right, here we go. Let me share this.
Methodologies for how you pay off a mortgage. And I'm going to show you 4 different ways to do that. Like if you want to accelerate and get that house paid off, I'm going to tell you that my whole journey of buying thousands of homes began with my fascination of the fact that I was on the phone doing telemarketing in college, talking to people who had gone to college, followed society's plan, and then got a house. And you could tell that the burden of like owning a house worth having hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, it bothers people, right? It's like the biggest payment in your life. And so I noticed that a lot of these people 20, 30 years later with refinancing and restructuring the loan, they weren't getting their houses paid off. And at some point you get old enough where it's like, this is.
Okay, listen. If you're refinancing your house over and over again, of course you're not going to pay it off. Okay, again, if you don't trust the calculator, that is your problem. In the beginning, he was like, hey, you got hundreds of thousands of dollars over your head. Hell yeah, that's a lot. That is unnecessary pressure. You don't have to have that pressure. That's totally up to you to have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt over your head. I don't care what it is. That's your problem if you accept that.
This is like a weight, and this is a pressure. So as a young man in my early 20s, I'm like, there has got to be a way to get this house paid off quicker and faster. So I am going to share 4 methodologies with you today. And with that, we're going to get right to it.
I got to skip over this stuff. I can't take that kind of stuff.
Secrets.
All right,
I'm
here
going
we
to kind
go.
of throw up on the board what these 4 options look like and break this down for you. So Chris, you might be asking, what is the most traditional way that people go about paying something off? Option number 1 is that when you get a house, the typical mortgage in America is what's called a 30-year fixed mortgage. And what a 30-year fixed mortgage is basically it's a bank saying, oh, we're lending you money, and let's just use round numbers. You're buying a house for $300,000, and you're thinking to yourself, all right, what's it going to take for me to pay off this house? The bank says, well, we'll help you pay it off.
There he goes talking about buying a house for $300,000. Unless you have $300,000 cash, you're not buying anything, okay?
In 30 years. But it's not just taking $300,000 and dividing it by 30 years of mortgages.
And one more thing. If you believe it takes 30 years of your life to pay off $300,000, that's a psychological problem, okay? All you got to do is take 300,000 divided by 30, and then that's how much you're going to get, how much money per year that you're actually paying towards the house, okay? Now you got to think to yourself, why would I pay just that little amount of money per year to the house? I don't know. For 30 years? I don't know. That's a psychological problem.
Actually going to pay for that house like 2.5 times over. And the bank is going to make all that money in interest. And I don't want to go into too much of that detail because I think it's a little bit boring, but I want you to understand that
this is what I noticed about him. When he tells you guys the truth, he make it sound like, oh, I don't really want to go into it's boring, but it's the truth. What do you mean? Of course they're going to front load it and make a whole bunch of money from interest. Of course. That's called business. I don't really want to bore you with that. Okay, hey, man, I'm all ears. Tell me more.
the bank wants their money if they're going to work with you for that super long period of time. Now, the way that they do this is they basically say, oh, 30-year fixed mortgage, here's your payment. And if you make that payment every month for a year, that's 12 months. If I do it for 30 years, it's like 365 payments. And if I were to do that for 30 years, the bank would get all of their money back a couple of times, plus you'd own the house free and clear. Free and clear means you have no more mortgage on it, you got no more payments, and you own it. Here's the funny.
He's telling you something that you will never reach. You'll never reach there, ever. If you're in debt, if you have student loan debt, say it like this, you have student loan debt and you have a mortgage, you will never reach the end of your mortgage, ever. You can't. You're in debt. If your student loans are older than your mortgage, you are an unconscious slave. You can't do that.
Anything about this. What you need in your 30s when you buy a house is what you think you'll need in your 50s or 60s. Dude, probably not. You might have kids. You might have to move. You might get job changes. You could move across the country.
He's telling you, there he goes. He's telling you guys the truth. He's telling you what you guys are going to do by the time you're older. You got to, if you finance a house in your 20s and your 30s or something like that, the likelihood of you reaching, you're not. Okay. He's saying basically things change. And if you're in debt, you're going to go deeper in debt.
You may have to downsize. You might need to upgrade. The reality is no one keeps a 30-year fixed mortgage. And here's the problem. The banks front load all of the money they get in the beginning. So if I had a payment of, let's say, $1,500 a month, like $80 is going towards the principal. The rest is going towards interest. And the bank knows this. They know that.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. I swear, okay? I swear it seems like he's talking to debt slaves and he's talking to people that understand money at the exact same time. I swear it sounds like he's talking like that. Andre, Andre, are you hearing this? Are you hearing the way he's speaking? Okay, it sounds like, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too into it. Okay.
There's a high likelihood you're going to move or change your life in the next 7 to 10 years. So basically, almost all the money that you're paying on this 30-year mortgage goes to who? The bank. So you're not even paying the house down hardly at all. It sucks, but it's true. And if you're the kind of person that's like, actually, Chris, I've got a pretty...
I mean, it's like he's telling debt slaves to their face. It's bananas as I'm listening to, oh, you're not going to hardly pay. That's true. Yes, that is true. God
boring, predictable life, and not much is ever going to happen to me, and I'm not really going to go places. And what I want today is what I want 30 years from now. If that's you, then something like this might work. But for you to actually game the bank at this system, you'd have to hold on to that mortgage for at least 25 years.
Let me tell you something. When the bank takes one look at your credit report, you're not gaming nobody. That's why they run your credit report first. You guys don't really understand why you think they're just looking at credit score. No, they're looking to see how much debt you're in. Credit scores are not that. Credit scores are reward points for staying in debt. Do you understand? High credit score, you're a good debt slave. Low credit score, you're a bad debt slave because you're not paying back the bank's money on time, so they penalize you with a low credit score. High credit score, you're a good slave because you pay their money back on time. You're not gaming nobody.
Sucks. So then you start saying, you know what? I am now aware of that, Chris. There's got to be a better way, a faster way to pay off my mortgage. And you know what they do? The bank said, you know what? For those that want to be more aggressive.
There is no fast way to pay off. Listen, there is no fast way to pay off a mortgage, right? Because you have a mortgage. You think you're going to, hold up, you didn't have no money to buy the house, okay? No money to buy it in cash. And then you get a mortgage. You think you're going to pay it off fast? How come you just didn't save up the money fast to buy it in cash? They already know that. There is no fast way to pay off a house.
Aggressive, to be more conservative. So we're putting those two words together. We're inventing something called the 15-year mortgage. And here's the way the 15-year mortgage does. You're not going to pay so much out in interest, but you're going to have a much higher payment. So instead of a $1,500 a month payment, maybe your payment is $2,200 a month. And guess what? You only have to pay it for 15 years. And some of you are like, hey, this is fantastic. It's not fantastic. You're going to bleed more cash flow. You're going to put more money into the house. And what you're really doing is investing in your house. Problem is, your house doesn't pay you anything. It's a liability, even though it'll appreciate with time and the value will go up. And you'll look back at some point and be like, wow, I have so much of my assets and net worth in my house. This was a great decision. You'll have done it the most inefficient way possible. If you want the bank to win, play their games. I don't like the bank to win. I want to win. I'd like everyone to win, but the bank here is going to collect so much money off of you. It's ridiculous. And if your life changes in the next 3, 4, 5 years, you're not going to really reap the benefits of that. But more importantly, you don't have as much free cash flow because you're dumping it from your own pocketbook. You're dumping it back in the bank as if it's an investment. It's not an investment. Then you say,
God, it's like he's just, it's like he's telling you guys the truth, but he's downplaying it like, you don't want to do that. That's what you're doing. Okay, that's what you're doing. And you know what he's about to do? Chris is about to get some of that money. It's business. It's nothing personal. Nothing.
hey, all right, I want to do something even more aggressive. That's it. You're like, you know what? I don't want the bank to win. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get on either a 15 or a 30-year mortgage. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw extra money at the bank. If my payment's $2,000, I'm going to pay $2,500 this month.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to do any of that. Why? Because you have a mortgage. Listen, okay? Listen to me. You don't have extra anything. You have no money. That's why you have a mortgage. If you had money, you would have bought the house in cash, okay? But since you didn't have no money, you used the mortgage. That's called financing. So you're not going to throw any extra payment, nothing, because you're in a mortgage. You have no money. Do you understand? You're in debt. So, okay, let's go on.
And why are you doing that? Because you want to pay it off quicker and add more principal, which means you're going to pay less in interest. Problem is, you're still playing the bank's game. Now, I do have an option that I do believe in. It's not one.
Of course you're playing the bank's game. They own you. The bank owns you. They own that house until they get all their money back. They own the house, which in turn, that means they own you.
One of these three. And at this point, you might be wondering what it is. And my friends, this is why you're watching the video, and that's why you've gotten to this point. It's for this moment right here. So I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to tell you, however, that it's different than what most people think. I don't believe in ownership. I believe in control. And while I can't control people, I can control money to some extent. I want to kind of break that down for you. Being a young man and realizing, oh my gosh, paying off my house is like, it's one of the hardest things to do. It takes so long. What's a faster way? Instead of putting extra money in the bank, take that extra money, and option number 4 is put the difference into an investment property, investment real estate. Imagine for just a moment, if you bought a house that had at least a 20% annual ROI. And let's just say that instead of paying down that house more or putting a bigger down payment on it, let's say that you put $40,000 down on a $200,000 house. That represents, by the way, about a 20% down payment.
Okay, so this is what he suggested you guys do with people with mortgages, okay? You already have one mortgage on the house. He wants you to take out another mortgage on the same house. They want you to get 2 mortgages on one house because you ain't got $40,000 of nothing. So of course you're going to refinance your house, pull out whatever you would believe that's called equity, take that money, and then go get a third mortgage for the investment property, because you're going to take that money and use that as a down payment on the next house. Meanwhile, the bank owns all 3 mortgages. You're not going to profit for years. Years.
And it's like, I could take that 40 grand and put it in my house and pay off my primary residence sooner. But instead, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that 40,000, I'm going to put it into an investment property. And if I'm earning a 20% ROI, here's the question. How long does it?
There he goes, talking about the future. Just making up numbers. Just, hey, if I do this, and I get 20% profit ROI, and this, hey man, nobody can tell the future, okay? So whatever he's saying about, it's made up. It's whatever he's making up, because nobody can tell the future. All you got to do is log into your bank account. That's your return. That's your equity. That's the money you have to invest. That's the money for your retirement plan. That's the money for vacation. That's the money that you have.
It take for me to double my money? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, 20% adds up to 100%.
So that means 20% one mortgage, 20% another mortgage, 20% another mortgage, 20%, 5 mortgages. You got 5 mortgages, and you think you're going to be profiting when you put renters in there? Wait a minute, you got 5 mortgages. You're not profiting for decades.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So just imagine for a moment that you could double your money every 5 years.
Now remember, he's talking about business now, okay? You guys don't know the difference between the two. You don't know the difference when he's switching back and forth between business and personal, because you guys just don't know there's a difference. He's not telling you that he's switching back and forth. He's like, hey, get this investment property, but that's called business. That means you got to do it right according to the IRS. You can't just, hey, I'm gonna just take out a second, get another one in my name and not set up shit right. No.
If you could do that, then 5 years later, 40,000 has become what? Well, it's become 80,000. But 5 years later,
look at him, just making up shit. Hey man, if you guys believe that, whose problem is that? That's yours. You never once stop and say, hey, wait a minute. He's telling the future? Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's telling the future. Now, if you believe Chris can see the future, that's your problem. Nobody can see the future. The present moment is the only moment that matters and will only matter. Remember that.
80,000 has become what? 160,000. 5 years later, what does it become? It's become $320,000. Now, by the way, we did this in 15 years just by buying one investment property. You could freaking pay off your house right now and have leftover money to invest. Let me share with you the scenario I find people in all day long, and this is how I've helped people really grow themselves. I'll find people that own a house already. It's a primary residence and they've got some equity into it. Let's say it has a value of $300,000. That's what it is worth in today's marketplace. But what they owe is $150,000. Now, if your house is worth $300K and you owe $150K, then how much equity do you have? Equity means the difference between what you owe and what it's worth. So this is the V for value, O is for owing, and we're going to use E for equity, and the equity is also $150,000. If I take
all imaginary, okay? Now, if you're brand new, if you're just walking in, let's calculate your equity, okay? Now, what he's showing you on the board, that's called the bank's equity because they own the house. Now, let's run through your equity, okay? In your house. Open up your calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, what you have left owed on the house, and hit enter. That's your equity. That's how much money you have to invest in properties and do all this other stuff. That's how much you have. That's how much your ownership of your house you have, what it says on the calculator.
My equity and what I owe and add it together, I get the value of a home. So what can I do with this equity of $150,000? Well, most people can go to a bank, borrow up to 80 or 90% of the value on their home.
Go to the bank, take out a second mortgage. Two mortgages on one house. Don't ever, if you have two mortgages on one house, don't ever say that out loud in public. Don't ever be around people that talk about two mortgages on one house is normal. That's not normal. You don't hang around. You don't take financial advice from them. They got not one mortgage. One mortgage is bad enough. Two mortgages on one house. Do not take financial advice from people like that. Those are the same people that have student loans older than their two mortgages on their house. You do not take financial advice or hang around people like that.
Home in this situation probably free up about $80,000. Now the bank will let you actually borrow that. It's called a home equity line of credit, or you could just refinance the house. The bank gives you 80 grand because they're like, dude, this is an asset. You have this money. What could you do with 80,000? Now, first of all, you're thinking, Chris, I'm freaking trying to actually pay off my house. Like if I pull 80 grand out, guess what? I don't owe 150 anymore. Now I owe 230 grand. Like I'm freaking going into debt. This is not the plan.
It's so funny. Like this is so crazy. Okay. He starts telling the truth, but he starts sounding like a crazy man. Like, oh my God, just panicking. That is the truth. That's what happens when you do shit like that. That's exactly what happens. That is the wrong thing to do. That's what, but he's making it seem like if you're acting like that, you're panicking, you're doing something. No, that is the truth. He's like, wait a minute. If my house is worth $3 and I only owe $150, that means I'm going to flip right back up to, yes, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
Watch. One step backwards might mean 10 steps forward. This 80,000 is enough to buy what? 2 homes. If those homes are earning 20%, then in 5 years.
So what Chris is saying is 2 mortgages on your first house and then go finance 2 more houses. So now you're going to have 4 mortgages. 4 mortgages.
I can turn my 80,000 into what? 160,000.
And then he goes right into talking about the future. He goes right into it. Hey, turn this 150 into double that, and then I triple that. Really? You can tell all that in 5 years, 10 years. That's what my money's going to do? It sure is. It's like, how do you know that, Chris? You don't. Nobody does.
By year 10, if I turn that into $320,000, what can I do with that $320,000? I can pay off my house. I can have leftover money. And I did it in 10 years. I didn't do it in freaking 20 years. It'll be even faster than that when you actually look at the compound interest effect. Today's video.
Oh my God. I mean, he be going deep. Oh, he starts adding in compound interest. And you cannot compound interest while you're in the negative. You cannot compound interest. You're compound. No, let me rephrase that. You're compounding interest when you're in the negative, but you're compounding negative interest. There's two types of compound interest. There's positive compound interest, and then there's negative compound interest. If you have a mortgage, you're compounding interest negatively because you're paying interest on the house.
Video, I wanted to kind of open your mind and let you know there is a smarter way, there's a better way. But you got to be thinking, how do I access homes with a 20% ROI? Well, most of my homes have a 25, 28, or a 30% ROI, which means I can double my money sometimes every.
Okay, so Chris, do a whole U.S. moratorium. Oh, this is 2019. Never mind. I take that back.
3 years. If you'd like to learn more about that, couple of things. One, I highly recommend that you actually get a copy of this book. I'm giving it away to you today for free. There's a link below. This book will share with you exactly how I do that. And there's another link below, maybe a more important link that says, partner with Chris. It'll take you to a page where I'll show you my track record on my last 4,000 homes. And I'm also going to share with you how I get 25 to 30% ROIs. If you like what you find there, you can talk to my team and I can actually show you how to pay off your home, not only a lot faster, but more importantly, create.
Hey, listen. He gonna show you how to pay off your house faster by going deeper in debt. He's going in his example, he took a person that had their house halfway paid off, halfway to eliminating this person is halfway to eliminating the largest expense in their life. They're about to eliminate it. Chris comes along and suggests a faster way to pay off the house by going deeper in debt, not only with his mortgage, 3 other mortgages. So by going 4 times in debt, you go pay your house off faster? That don't even make any sense. That makes absolutely no sense. That's called business. That's called business.
The real dream, which is not a paid off home. It's called financial freedom. And I don't mean financial freedom as like, I'm rich, I'm a billionaire. What I really mean is unmortgaging your life, not just your house. How do I live life on my terms? How do I get the residual?
He's talking about financial freedom while having a mortgage. You can't do that. You cannot be financially free with a mortgage. You can't. Okay, you have a mortgage. That means you're not financially free.
Income I need to get my time back and do the things that I want with who I want when I want. I figured all that out by the age of 26, and now I've been able to magnify it and take it to a whole new level. We got this one life to live. Don't let the banks own it. Don't play the banks' games. Their games take so freaking long. The reality is there's a better way, a smarter way.
The bank created the game, okay? The banks made the game. If they made it, that means they control it. I've accepted that. I've totally accepted that. You guys you still don't probably understand what I mean. Let me give you an example what I mean the banks control the game. If the banks decided today that they were going to cut off everybody's credit card, all business in the United States of America would cease. Do you understand? It would cease to function. It would stop. Debt slaves can't survive without credit cards and credit. Do you understand? If they said, hey, no more credit for anybody, everything would stop. So that says to me, they are in control. They made that. No, that says to me, they created the game. Do you understand? I accept that. That's acceptable. Okay, I got it. Understood.
Faster way, and frankly, a safer way. So do yourself a favor. Pay off your house the most intelligent way possible. My name's Chris Crone. I hope you enjoyed today learning about the...
All right. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. You guys, hey man, do you want? I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the easiest way. If you want to feel how it is to be debt free without actually being debt free, this is all you got to do. Okay, Go pick up the game of Monopoly and choose 3 or 4 of your friends to play with. The board game. Okay. And then when you guys pull it up, okay, when you guys you say before you play, you look at the rules on the box and say, hey, everybody, we are going to play by the rules on the box. Now everybody's going to look weird because guess what? Nobody will have read the rules on the Monopoly box. Ask any of your friends, hey, have you ever read the rules on the Monopoly box? I bet you all of them will say no. You say, we're going to play only by the rules on the box. But you play debt-free and make sure you are the bank. Because people in debt that don't understand money and they're the bank, they think it's funny to pull out 500 here, a couple hundred there, and stack it in their personal money. They just do that. You must be the bank. And you play by and never finance. You finance nothing, ever. You let everybody else buy up property and play the way they play. And then that'll give you an idea what it's like to be in the real world, but debt-free. Because it's exactly the same. Exactly the same. Think about it yourself. Have you ever read the rules on the Monopoly box? No. Take the time to go look it up. Hey, man, just Google it. There's no money that goes in the middle of the board, under boardwalk, free parking, or do it. There's none of that. None of those rules exist. That's what debt slaves play. Collect all the tax, and whoever rolls a 7 gets all the money from. No, does the city do that where you live? They collect all the fines, and then they say, hey, whoever gets 7 gets to get all this money. No, that doesn't exist. None of that exists. Now let me put this link up here. If you guys want to come up and ask me some questions about the video, maybe you follow Chris, and I just showed you some stuff and that you didn't know, never heard of. You hear me speaking like, hey, I've never heard anybody tell me this. I understand. I do. Because maybe Andre came up with the number. I think I think I'm being generous with 1%. Knows what I'm sharing with you guys. 1%, maybe 1% of the population. Because if you think about it, when people put bank-owned financial stuff in their portfolios, that they don't know that they don't own their stuff. And they're putting it in the financial portfolios. Now, again, I'm not against business debt. I'm not against business debt, but debt is debt. The only difference between business debt and personal debt is taxes, okay? I understand that. But debt, even if you have business debt, it's still debt, okay? Never forget that. Never forget it's still debt. Number one goal, pay off that business debt, and then you'll make unbelievable profits. All the tax savings is all yours. When you ain't got no debt, imagine how profitable your business will be once you actually own your business. All of the tax savings, all of the profits, they're all yours now. What's up, Andre?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's up, man?
Yeah, it's it's funny. I was just thinking about it with the Monopoly. If you ask someone, what's the game of Monopoly about? And they say it's all, for you to own the most property, right?
Right.
That's not what the game is about.
What you saying? What are you saying it's about?
The game is to cause everyone else to go bankrupt.
That is true. Yes.
Now, something simple like that, I've been trying to explain to people for years.
Oh, that is true.
And they don't get it. It
That
has
is
nothing to
true.
do with the properties. Yeah.
Huh. And that game matches the economy. Make everybody start all over again. Bankrupt them and start them all over again.
Yep.
You got a party going on over there, man? That is the name of the game. Bankrupt everybody. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even look. I didn't even really look at it like that till just now, until you mentioned it. Honestly.
Yeah, that's why I tell people, I know it sounds silly, or maybe they think I'm just being facetious or something. I don't know, but I tell people all the time, play Monopoly. I used to have a thing where we would do it. Eventually got to the point where we would play Monopoly every Monday. It was Monopoly Mondays, and I would put money.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would put money out, and invite whoever, friends, family, coworkers, everybody to go and play. And it's funny, like, for example, in the game, you have to pay full price for the land first, right? You can't just get a property with houses or hotels on it. You have to pay for the land first.
Yep.
In full.
Yep.
Then, as you go around and you get more income, then you build a house on your property, right?
Yep.
And you have to pay for the house in
you gotta
full.
get like 4 houses first, and then you get a hotel, right? Something like that.
That's right. That's right. But the point is that the land has to be paid for first in full.
That is true.
And then the houses have to be paid also in full. The only time you use debt, so to speak, is if you're coming up short on cash, or if you're trying to make a purchase off of somebody, right? So there's no debt in the game used at all, unless under those specific circumstances, So I tell people all the time, I say, just play Monopoly, just make it a regular thing, play it over and over, and eventually, hopefully,
now everything's
it'll sink in.
online. So I mean, now everything. Yeah, I mean, it's better it's online because now people can't cheat really on the with the whoever the bank is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, you're right. I did not look at it as to make everybody else go bankrupt, which would be easy as long as you play debt free.
Yep. Once you've played the game a few times, with a different lens, and then I tell people, once you understand Monopoly, you can go out in the real world and win.
And so crazy, man. Now, when I read the rules, I'm one of those people that didn't read the rules. I didn't know, like, when you land on a property, you don't even have to pay full price for it. Like, if nobody says, "Hey, I want to buy it," then you can not raffle it, or you could do something, and it doesn't even have to be the price of what it's selling for. The option of auctioning it off, auctioning it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "Oh, damn! I never knew that."
Yeah, and the other part of it too is that people don't understand that it's actually the land that has value, not the house. This is another thing where I have a lot of difficulty, because when I deal with people, they don't have enough education, they don't know enough,
right?
And because there's a thing called there's a guy called George Henry, I believe, and he came up with the idea of enclosed rent. And before him, I think it was Cantillon or Richard something, that would talk about the value of the land, and how the closer you are to the city, or to the center of the city, the higher the property values were, right?
Yeah.
So, frequently I would tell people, I also, because the way that it's done with the government, they don't.
Did we lose you, Andre? I can't hear you.
And
oh, there you go. You came back. Oh, lost him.
So what really? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you just came back. We had lost you for a second.
Yeah. So you have to ask yourself what really has value.
I don't know if your connection's going bad, or not sure what's going on. You out there with the crickets? Maybe too far out.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can. Now I can.
All right. Yeah, what I was saying is that there's a misconception, and yeah, I can tell you can talk to millionaires, sometimes billionaires, and they don't understand this. You know, they really don't understand.
That is just
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just saying that's bananas that they don't understand it. Millionaires and billionaires, they don't understand it.
No, they don't. So it makes it very difficult for me to have a conversation because I have an understanding. It's like someone telling you that that gravity doesn't exist. You know,
Right.
it's like no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, gravity. It's just. I mean, look at planes. Planes are, you know.
Right.
Look at the moon. You know, the moon's out there. It hasn't fallen yet. Right. That's just, and so once you understand that, once you've played Monopoly, I always tell this because it's an easy enough thing to do, and since it's a game, it can be pleasurable. So you actually learn doing something fun. You know.
Right.
Right. And I usually would do this with children, try to catch them early, and I would make it a point that they play Monopoly at least monthly, every month.
Yeah,
and you got
the age, like my girlfriend's son, he's 7, right? Almost 8,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to put him on the board for a minute, but he's still too busy, you know, looking at the characters of the pieces, and you know, he doesn't really quite understand what I'm trying to show him yet. So I got to wait till he's probably a little bit older.
Yeah, usually I usually start at 9.
Okay, yeah, that sounds
9 years
right.
old.
Okay.
Before that, they don't even have the attention span because Monopoly.
Right.
Monopoly
if it's
takes
not a
while.
game, you don't want to play. If it's like not playing, tackle the other person's piece or something, you don't even want to play.
Yeah, so I like I was telling you, I use those games like Monopoly, Shoots and Ladders, Life, but I explain everything. In other words, I make it real. I explain how it works in real life.
Right,
you follow what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, like for example, with Monopoly, like I just said, who do you know that goes and buys the land first? I guarantee you don't know anyone.
No.
And you can talk to realtors, unless they're a builder or a developer.
Right.
No one ever buys land. That's how things used to be done back in the day. You bought the land. You know, you saved up and you bought it cash. There was no mortgage. There was no payments. Right.
You know what's so funny? Every now and then I've heard a person or two throughout my life that said, "Oh, I bought the land first, and then I'm gonna build a house on it." Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember now that I'm outside the debt matrix, now I really understand what that means.
I'm sorry, you broke up. I didn't hear what you said in the middle there.
I said now the few times that I've heard somebody say, "Hey, I bought the land first and then I'm gonna build a house on it," the few people that I've heard, now I really understand what it means now that I'm outside the debt matrix.
Yeah, exactly. It has a whole completely different meaning. And usually the only people you hear say that are usually older people. Correct. You know, in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you know. You'll never really hear someone younger saying that. Right. But it is absolutely key. So if the game, because if the way that we do it in life now is the right way, then why is the game set up that way, right? Because the game is set up that you have to buy the land in full in cash, right?
Well,
no
with
payments.
these new neighborhoods going up, they will never be able, because they don't own the land that all those houses are compact on. That's why they pay what's that called? HOAs, because they don't own the land right there.
Yeah.
And never will.
Yeah. No. An HOA is essentially an incorporation. Like for example, when you live in a state, the state is a corporation, right? Correct. It has to run like that because it's complicated, but like if someone could be sued, right? It's like, for example, let's take, for example, the Louisiana Purchase, right? The United States bought that land. It was a transaction. You follow what I'm saying? So if you don't understand that it's just everything is business, and that's why that's also another thing I tell people, you know, it may take a little bit of the fun out of life, but you got to treat life, your personal life, as a business. Yeah. And you say this all the time.
All
Sometimes
the time.
I'm like, you're a savant or something. Like, I don't know how you figure it out. But
the business of themselves, man.
It's for real. It's for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say to people, well, if I had to invest in you, what would you be a good investment? And 99% of the time they'll laugh and you're like, hell no.
Man,
you're gonna lose money on me.
Crazy.
But it's revealing because they're telling on themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the bank knows right away. As soon as the bank runs their credit report, they'll know right away that they don't own themselves. Right away.
Yeah, and remember, the bank doesn't care. I mean, they care in the sense they don't want to have a loss. They don't want to have a net loss.
I know it's business. No, I understand the business aspect. I totally get it. But it's just bananas how people don't really understand what a credit report means. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they don't understand how the whole nothing financial works. Like, for example, I was trying to explain to someone that they're not getting paid to work, right? They're actually doing an exchange. It's a transaction, right? Yes, so for example, when you go to travel, I know you've traveled before, right? Did you use the currency of the country when you went? Or you just use your credit card?
I think I just used my credit card. I didn't really get any of their money.
All right. Yeah. So when you get, for example, let's say I was to go to Greece right now, right? And I wanted to just do my transactions in cash, right? I would have to have whatever the currency is over there to make the purchase, right?
Correct.
So what the way I explain it to people is that you're actually selling dollars to buy whatever that currency is, or pesos, let's say, you mean when we
switch our U.S. currency into theirs?
Yeah, and when I say it like that, it makes it easier for them to understand. Because if you say exchange or trade, it sounds like you're swapping chips or something, or
okay, hold up. When you say selling, okay, I'm trying to grasp it. When I go over there and I want to, I'm going to say the word exchange my money into theirs.
That's what they tell you. That's the term that they use, right?
What do you mean so I'm selling my US dollars to whatever country I'm going to? Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
You mean the physical currency?
The actual money. You have to think of it as a sale. So let's say it's your truck and you had to change your truck for another truck. But you can't take that. You're not going to take that truck across the ocean to go drive around in Greece, right?
No.
So you're going to sell your truck. Let's say that's all the wealth you had in it. So you have to sell it first, right?
Yeah.
And then you go to Greece and you would buy a truck in Greece. I have to use this more simplified example so it makes sense. Right. So does that part make sense so far?
Oh, God. Okay.
So now when people say, "Oh, I got paid," no, that's not the correct term. You sold your time in exchange for money. You didn't get paid. It's not wages. See, they'll use words like wages or salary, and it's not correct. That's not correct. You have to say, I sold, and once you start saying that, it changes everything.
Well, that's all I can see now. That's all I can see now. Now,
absolutely.
Once you own yourself, you're like, oh shit, it's time. Which seemed like the obvious. Hey, you're gonna be dead one day, right? Yeah, that's it's time then, right? But I don't even want to think about how much time I sold. It's just horrible to even think about anymore.
Yeah, once you start, using the right terms, and it makes it a lot easier to understand what's actually going on. So then you start saying, okay, wait a minute, I'm not getting paid to work. No, I'm selling time. If you say that, I'm selling time, then it forces you to realize, and you have to look at it from the other side. No, okay, the business is purchasing.
How much am I selling my time for minus taxes?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it very, very quickly you're, and this is where the self-esteem thing I talk about always comes up. It's like, wait.
Right.
If I'm selling time, my time is worth more than what you're paying me right now,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Or you start thinking more critically about once you receive your payment for your time, it's like, wait a minute, I don't want to just waste my time.
Well,
You know?
see, now that I think about it, and throughout my life, I always came around a person every now and then that would seem like they were an asshole about their time, right? Because when you don't own yours, you think people like that are assholes. But now I understand. Once you understand the value, you just don't let you don't let anybody waste it or just show up late all the time, and that's not acceptable anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And this thing that you put on tonight with Chris,
Mhm.
like he's just a sales guy. You know, he's doing what he
I
has
mean, what do
to
you see?
get.
That's what I meant to ask you. What do you see when you listen to him?
I see a used car salesman. That's what I see.
I see that too.
I see the direct, no offense, but that direct TV,
Right. Right.
the direct TV. And he said it. I used to do telemarketing, so I almost guarantee he was selling direct TV at one point.
But we'll see, that's what debt slaves like that. They like all that hyper activity, running around, props, money on the table stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't do it if it didn't work, LJ.
Correct.
Right?
Did you notice the stacks of fake money on the desk?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was going to mention that, but you beat me to it.
I was like, oh, just all the props, man. Just brilliant, though. They know what to do.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there that one, you can't say I got paid.
Right.
You can't say I got wages or salary. You have to start saying I sold my time. When you say that, once you start saying that statement, saying it that way, everything changes right away. Because then you start saying, okay, I'm not spending my paycheck.
Right.
I'm using my time, or I'm wasting my time.
Correct.
Once you follow what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and then they'll look at it and say, wait a minute, I'm financing a car for 84 months?
Right.
How much of my time is going to take for me to pay that thing off? And you start looking at that, you're like, wait a minute, that's money I haven't even made yet. No, they already bought the time in your life to pay off that car.
Yeah, it's funny because people get annoyed with me because I get into that. I try to get them in the habit of doing that. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, they'll say, oh, I bought this for $5.99, and I'm like, okay, so how many minutes, how many seconds, what's that coming out to? No, and again, I understand it's annoying, but I'm doing it on purpose,
right?
Because they have to understand that they're not spending money. They're spending time.
What they're really doing.
In addition to that, I typically have trouble with people when for example, when we were talking about the retirement accounts and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I tell them is that you cannot compare for example, in a taxable account, you can't compare the money that you receive in dividends or gains to the money you get for working.
Correct. Because the time.
Exactly. So once you start adding the time to everything, it's like, wait. I want more of that money and less of that money. I want more of that money. I don't have to spend. You still have to spend some time. But it's a fraction of a fraction.
They will never be able to, like what you're explaining right now. They will never be able to separate time from money like that. I don't think they'll be able. The majority can't get that concept. They just don't. They don't understand that it's not the same as hour for hour, Yeah,
it's funny when I deal with a client, and once if I've gotten enough time to get more comfortable with them, I start doing that. I'm like, okay, so this is costing you how much, how many hours, how many I understand it gets annoying, but let me tell you, after the third or fourth session of me doing that, they completely change. Completely.
Really?
Yeah. everything from that point on is they'll go back and into their business, and everything stops being money, because typically you do, for example, a cost control. Like a business will do a cost control, and they'll say, okay, how much are we paying for this inventory or toilet paper or whatever, right? And if as the prices change, then typically what they would do is go out into the marketplace and try to find something cheaper or a competitive price for a similar product, right? So after me doing this for a while, they usually are like, one of the guys came in one time, and I forget what it was. I think it was engine oil, right? And he's like, man, that was like 5 hours of engine oil. And that's how I knew I got, because he was buying like a whole cart of oil for his vehicles.
Right.
He's like, Andre, it's like 5 hours. You know how hard I got to work to get those 5 hours.
5 hours back. Exactly.
Yeah, man. And I was like, hey, you gotta switch it up. You gotta make those changes.
Well, I mean, think about this too. And I was talking about this the other day too. Think about like people with Teslas, right? They finance the car, and then they have to wait at a charging station like 45 minutes to fill up the electricity, and that's only if it's not crowded. So they would wait in line to get to the electric pump to pay and sit there. Can you imagine how much time that is? And they think they're saving money on gas.
Hey, LJ, did you hear the latest? People couldn't charge their Teslas because of a problem with the app. They were stuck at the stations. They couldn't charge their cars.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh my God. How long did they end up having to stay at the pumps?
I don't know. I just read the headline and laughed. I didn't, it doesn't apply to me, so I'm not going to spend, again, because my time is valuable, I'm not going to read an article like that. But it doesn't apply to me.
To use my time on that one. I got to read that.
Yeah.
I got it. Wow. That is just, man.
Yeah, I'm guessing they probably had to sit there a few hours before it was fixed.
I said people that pay cash for Tesla, they got superchargers at home. You know, you come home, you're going to be there for hours. Come on, plug that bad boy up. That's it. Don't matter. You know, you're already there.
Yeah. I'm sure that, and from what I understand, it doesn't take much to actually install a charger in the house. But I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Right. And you don't even own a car, so don't even worry about it.
Exactly.
Would you even consider an electric car?
I would, more so for the novelty. Is like I was telling you, I would only buy a vehicle now for the personal enjoyment.
Gotcha.
You know, whereas the majority of the population purchases a vehicle either so that their neighbors and friends can see it or their family can see it, or to get to work.
Correct.
They don't buy it for the enjoyment. So right now I'm thinking about buying an Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio. I like it, so I'm thinking about it. But
they still make those new?
Yeah.
The new body style ones. Okay, never mind.
I
like those.
The Giulia Quadrifoglio. Yeah.
I don't know that one specifically, but how's their engineering? I've seen those cars, but I don't know nothing about them mechanical wise.
It's a Ferrari designed engine, so yeah, it's up there. Yeah, it's a nice car.
And it runs good and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think it's 500 and something horsepower, twin turbo. It's a four-door sedan.
Look it up. What's the one you talking about?
Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio.
Giulia Quadrifoglio. Hold on for a second.
But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to just put my 2 cents in there because to get the kind of change that at least that you're trying to get to, you really have to like completely break down the whole way that they think about stuff, because there's too much programming there already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we know that it has to be that way. I mean, it's just amazing to see it. That's all. It's it's amazing to me. It's just I'm glad I got a seat in the stadium to watch. It's amazing how they do it.
Now that you know, do you think it's difficult or easy now at this point?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Now that you have an inside view of how the system works, do you think it's difficult, or is it still difficult for you, or do you perceive it as difficult to?
Oh no,
to,
no,
yeah.
I don't perceive it as difficult. Now I see that there are no limits. I can be as big or make as much money as I wish. You know, I had to get over the hump of my age, you know, waking up at this age, but I understand that now is the time for me right now, and I'm just happy to still be young enough to create legacy. So I'm cool with it. I mean, we always talk. I mean, we get impatient. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
it now. I do. I want it today, right? But hey, okay, I gotta wait. I just gotta wait.
Yeah, that's actually a symptom of understanding the limit, the time limit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You realize that you're not going to be here for 1,000 years.
Right,
So it's
man.
like,
I be, you know, so crazy, man. I'll be thinking about like, damn, one day I'm not gonna be here. Damn it! There's so much I could do. I got things to do, man.
the good thing about it is that you wake up energized, and it's just a world full of possibilities, not a world full of problems. You know?
True. And appreciate possibilities, appreciation. You know, I just appreciate the people I met. I mean, had I not found myself, you and I wouldn't know each other. You know, just and the other SB family members. Just it's every day is appreciated.
I do want to say to the community that we'd love if you guys would come up and talk. Because otherwise we just keep talking about ourselves.
Right.
So we would love for you guys to come up, and if you have any questions for us or for LJ, yeah, we're here to help, and there's no reason to feel weird about it or anything. We're not mean, you know.
We are definitely here to help and just help people own themselves. You know, just I guess sometimes I got to change some terms to help you guys. You know, it's about trusting the calculator and help you own yourself, the business of yourself. Because once you learn this, man, your whole world is just gonna change. It's totally gonna change.
Yeah, it really is like a paradigm shift, and you have X-ray vision through everything and everyone once you learn it. You can see who's faking it, who's for real.
Yeah, so easy too. You can see it's so easy.
Yeah, it's like I always tell you, LJ. They always tell on themselves.
Right, they're always telling themselves, always, and they don't know they don't know.
No, they don't know that they're saying it. Yeah.
What's up, Freedom Queen?
Hello, good evening.
All right. I always get kickback. Are you watching the video? You got to mute the video or something. Or are you on your phone?
Yeah, I'm on the phone, but I don't have the video on. But hold on a second. Is that any better?
Test. I still hear myself. I'll just mute. Go ahead.
I'll just mute when I'm done talking, like I usually do. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So you all were talking about let's see, I think it was International Minded said something about selling your time. What when you're at a job or whatever, is that a bad thing? Are you all saying that's a bad thing, or what?
No, the reason why I say that is because you have to. The thing, words are important. They form our understanding of our reality. And when you say that you're getting a salary or it's wages, most people don't really understand what those words mean. But when I say you sold how much time today, it completely makes it 100% clear what's actually happening. You follow what I'm saying? That's why I say it that way.
Yeah, I understand it, and it was hearing it just, ooh, it does something to me. So it's like that's why I came on to like get more understanding of what you're saying, because I know LJ also you say fear is what is it? Something evidence appearing real, false evidence appearing real. So w- the several times in the past when I've tried different businesses or whatever, some of them did okay, never was I able to like sustain myself, like have enough to live off of, to pay my bills or whatever. And so here I'm going again. I've started another business or whatever, and I still have a job, but I want to be able to sustain myself with my own business, the business of me. And but you also have living expenses. So can you all kind of like share a little bit of how that happens without a, regular uh, compensation coming from employment or whatever?
Well, you're doing right now. You already started the process. You created your business and the financial business that we already talked about, and you're doing it as a debt-free person. You're doing it right. I mean, honestly, there is no right and wrong way to do it. As long as you get out of debt first personally, first the business of you must be out of debt personally. You don't immediately just quit your job. Then all of a sudden you're gonna go, you starting your side business, which is gonna naturally grow because you gotta remember your financial business is gonna go faster than the majority because the majority of people in the financial sector are in debt, whatever in the area that you're at, right? The majority of those people are in debt. So you're going to naturally start to explode because you're going to be different. And then you're going to see one day you're going to notice that you're making way more money at your side or at your, I'm going to call it a side business, even use your words right. The business of you, what you're turning yourself into, which is going to be bigger than your regular job. And then you're going to say, I quit. Then you're just going to go fully over there.
I can add a few things. I'm sorry. Okay. I can add a few things there. One, the addressing the fear thing that you said, because I know that's part of what's affecting you there. Fear is an indication of a feeling of inadequacy, right? So it's there, and this is generally a good thing. It's like an instinct. It's telling you that maybe you don't have all of the skills, all of the knowledge that you need to have to perform. Now, the best way to deal with that is to have a mentor, right? So you have to have someone you have to find, and this is very hard because mentors have got their own life, and usually if they're any good, they really value their time. But to help alleviate those feelings of fear, it helps to have someone that has been successful doing what you want to do or that you're planning to do, and you have to develop a relationship with them, and they can really help you fill in the gaps because that fear usually is coming from knowing that you don't know everything you need to know, type of thing. However, what LJ is talking about is the like the fear of the dark type of thing. It's fear that's unwarranted. So if you have a fear of something that's not real, that's preventing you from performing or preventing you from taking the next step, then that's actually worse than knowing that you're missing something or missing some skill, because it's affecting your performance, and that thing that's affecting your performance isn't even real in the first place. So that's something you really definitely don't want to allow to come into your life or to your way of thinking. Now, I'm going to put some positives and some negatives. I'm going to start with the negatives first. The negative is that the probability of success for someone starting a business is very low, right? The chances are very, very low, actually. Now, the reasons for that, usually they will say, which is a cop-out, that the person who's starting the business didn't have enough capital. Well, let me tell you, that's not right. That person, first of all, you don't necessarily have to have that capital yourself. A matter of fact, it's better, typically better, so long as you retain control of the business, to have partners or to have co-owners or even issue debt, you know, to get a loan. Of course, you have to be careful with this because you want to have assets for that loan. But you definitely want to try to spread the risk out. I was explaining this on one of the discords once, where I was saying that I'd rather have 10 opportunities with varying risk levels than to have one which I believe has a high probability of success and then it ends up failing. So the difficulty with that, though, is that itself is a skill set, because that means you're juggling a bunch of plates simultaneously. And sometimes, especially if you're starting out new, that could be really difficult. So the other thing, though, what my experience has been, and I've said this several times, is that when businesses fail, whether it's starting up or years later, it's a lack of two things: knowledge and relationships. Notice I didn't say money at all. It's knowledge or relationships. There is plenty of money out there. There's investors everywhere looking to place their money for higher returns. Returns are difficult to get, and even in the market, it's difficult to get if you're taking a reasonable risk. So people are out there looking to invest in other people's businesses. But the real issue is knowledge and relationships. So whenever I'm advising someone, I always tell them, look, do you feel that you're competent, truly competent? Sometimes, particularly if it's a new business, it does require a period of time of working under someone else, preferably a mentor, if you can make that happen, to really get your bearings. But if you're debt free, like LJ says, that puts you already in a whole different category. The reason is that the average business owner, when they start their business, they have a mortgage and they have student loans and they got car loans. So that drain in capital is the capital that they need to actually make their business successful. So that's why I say it's not really the capital itself. It's more a question of the knowledge and the relationships. Hopefully that helps to answer the question.
You're on mute, Freedom Queen.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. That was a lot, but I followed. And I will say I do have a mentor for this new business. Unlike in the past when I've tried, different businesses and things. So yeah, I appreciate that. I just have a concern that, well, I've shared. I don't know if you were on one time. I was sharing with LJ some of the things that I'm currently experiencing on this particular employment. And in the past, I've had even worse situations. But anyway, my goal is to just eventually try to get away from the employment deal and just be able to be sustained by the business of me. So, that's why I wanted to come on here and ask that and talk about it. I'm definitely confident. I've had, like I said, several businesses in the past, and different things at different times causes for different actions and new things to arrive. So, I just kind of go with the flow. But I appreciate the spill on that. And yeah, I certainly appreciate that.
Also, I wanted to say one thing about fears. Now, remember here I say fears plural, false evidence appearing real psychologically. All right, fears. All right. And so with me, when fear comes into my life, I don't turn from it because it's there for a reason. And I've noticed this along my journey. Every time fear steps in, the normal thing is what we're taught is to run, pretend like it's not there, avoid it. I always turn around and say, why are you here? What do you want to show me? Because every time I turn and face it, it's something that it wants to show me. And it's pretty important because it's causing that fake fear psychologically. So I just turn around and say, all right, what you want to show me? And then 9 times out of 10, as long as I learn the lesson that is, or whatever it's trying to show me, I always move. If I feel like I move to the next level of something, that's what it just feels like to me inside. So.
Oh, thank you for sharing that too. And I did try that, and I don't even want to share what came up. It was too deep. When you say turn and look at fear in the face and be like, "Why are you here?"
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I actually did that, but it's just too deep to share right now. I may share it with you all later, but I just can't even bring myself to share it right now. But it's good. It was just deep.
Andre, you had something to say?
No, I was gonna definitely was going to agree with you on that. Like I was saying earlier, it's part of our intuition. It's part of that um, that part of our mind that kind of knows what's up without knowing what's up. You know what I mean? So there's something to be said for using your intuition and respecting it, because like you said, it's trying to tell you something. So definitely, yeah, I would say, yeah, I agree with you 100%. You have to confront it. Otherwise it just follows you around and drags you down. It becomes like a dead weight that you're pulling around all the time. It's been my experience dealing with many people with these types of endeavors that the problems aren't really financial or market based or anything like that. It's usually something like you said, is more psychological.
Yeah.
And it's something where they're not running on all cylinders, and sometimes the mentor is not the person for that. Like you really have to have some cheerleaders, and you can't have negative people around you.
Correct.
You
They have
can't
to be
at all
eliminated.
whatsoever.
Negative people got to be eliminated.
Yeah, even if the slightest peak.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I did.
Yeah, it's just you really don't even want negative. It's weird. The energy is just, and it could be, and the person doesn't have to be next to you. It could be, because like I always tell people, I had to let go of a friend because I could just feel the negative energy, and it was really bothering me. And I said, okay, it's time to cut that off. And what that is making room for the right people to come in your life and help you, because here we want to see everybody succeed, and be millionaires, billionaires. No jealousy, none of that. Just, you don't want people like that just dragging you down. And the fear is like, you got to be strong to turn to face. First, you got to recognize it. And just like Andre said, it's not going anywhere until until it shows you or learn a lesson or whatever it is. Then I promise you, then it goes away. Because I still have them now. I just turned and say, okay, why are you doing that? Oh, okay, I'm supposed to do this. All right. And it was 9 times out of 10, something about me that I was trying to ignore or something. And then once I face it, that's it.
That okay. I appreciate you sharing that. But I will say this, I'll touch it and move off of it though, because I don't want to get too far into this. But a lot of the negativity that I've experienced in the past and currently, unfortunately, comes from my family. And it has been extremely difficult for me to just completely turn and walk away, but I'm doing it and I'm learning more and more that it is helpful. But I just wanted to throw that out there because that has been, I guess you can call a stumbling block or whatever. But anyway, like I said, just touch that and move on. The other thing is, and I'm probably have to go here in just a moment, but the other thing is when you were talking about the fear factor, my concern is when I'm entering this endeavor, I want to be able to still, like I said, sustain my living expenses. And so that's just, it's almost like, wow, I have to stay at this crazy, creepy job. And when I say creepy, I'm not playing, I'm not exaggerating. It is very scary and crazy there in a lot of ways on a lot of different levels. So that's what I meant by, the fear, because I just, I have living expenses that are not going anywhere. So, but anyway, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. If you wanted to share something else, I can hang on for a minute and then I'll have to go. But I appreciate everything.
No, that's it. We at the 2-hour mark. Go ahead, mute your mic for a second. No, we're at the 2-hour mark, so that's cool. No, and I appreciate you jumping on here, sharing Freedom Queen. I didn't realize it was 10:30 too, but thank you for sharing that. Any words, Andre?
No, just that to keep her head up and focus on the future and eliminate whatever bad energies around her. If her job is like that, that will actually sabotage. If her job and her family's like that,
right,
her chances of success are very low. Actually,
correct. Yeah,
she has to. There's no other way, and this is my job. This is what I get paid to do, is tell people the truth of the matter.
Right.
3 things. One, if your family's not 100% crazy cheerleader supportive, they got to go. If your job is dangerous or is affecting your psyche, it's got to go.
Gotta go.
Period. And the third thing I would say when it comes to business, and this is also a hard one, particularly for new people starting out, is that successful businesses start out as 80-hour weeks.
They do.
Sometimes more.
You gotta put in some
and
work.
It's not a joke. It's for real.
It's real.
So if you're willing to do those 3 things, because it sounds like you got the rest all set up, ready to go.
But if it's your passion, it's okay. If for some reason it's cool, if it's your passion, not something
absolutely. If you're doing something you love, you don't even notice the time.
The
time is not even
right.
It's not even an issue.
No.
And she may be able to find if she's able to get out of that's kind of like that bad marriage of her job.
Right.
She might be able to find a better one in no time that maybe is more aligned with her or more on purpose for her.
Oh, she's gonna have. I mean, that's not even an option. She's gonna have to.
Yeah.
You can't have that negative end. Getting up. I couldn't even imagine waking up and having to go to a place that I don't want to go to for money. That'd be horrible. You're on mute.
I'm sorry. So I just would. But those are my 3 recommendations. That anything that's negative energy has got to go. I would immediately start looking for another job. Like tomorrow, I'd be putting out resumes and whatnot with the idea that I need to move on because it's so difficult as it is to start a business.
Mhm.
Never mind take over. You get even taking over an existing business is a nightmare.
Right.
Starting a new one's even more difficult, and then you add the complexity or the blocks of negativity. Your chances are very low. So, and those things have to be dealt with first before you even start, really.
Correct. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go.
All right, sir. Thank you for jumping on always, as always. Much appreciated.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later. Let's see. Yeah, it's always. I love when Andre gets time to jump on here, man. It's this is like I remember when I was about to quit my career, right? Making $160,000 a year, and something inside of me said it's time to quit. Can you imagine that fear? That fear was huge. I had the fear of working all these years to climb the corporate ladder to finally make six figures, because you're told six figures is the number you need to reach and all this other stuff, right? And then when it was something inside of me said quit, and you got to remember, it guarantees you nothing. That's the problem with most people. They want guarantee. Hey man, if I start this business, am I guaranteed to be successful? No, none of that is guaranteed. None of it. You just have to believe in yourself. So for me, now that I'm on the outside looking back, I have to believe in myself. So I decided to quit. I had to believe in myself to be on the mic talking to you guys today. You guys, if I had not quit my job, none of you guys would even know me. SMD wouldn't exist. All these videos, everybody, SMD family, none of this would exist. I'd be still staring at some computer screens back in Seattle, Washington. That's what I would be. If I let fear had controlled my decision to quit my job. Because again, you want guarantees. Oh man, what am I going to do? What about this? What about that? No, well, I guarantee. You got to believe in yourself. If I had not believed in myself, I wouldn't have had the gift today, the ability to see negative numbers psychologically. For those people, in simple terms, I trust a calculator when it comes to money. Always. I believe what the calculator says, but it's psychological because the whole economy is psychological. I would have never in a million years, had I not went through the whole journey of getting out of debt, paying off everything, quit my job, blah, I would have never known the 40-hour work week is a program, 7 days a week, holidays, all that is a fucking program. Do you guys understand me? That's a program. That it must be that way. It must be that way. You can choose. The system is not bad. I know I'm kind of going off a little bit, but the system, it's a choice. You get to choose which side of our economy that you want to be on. You want to be on the debt slave side, or you want to be on the debt side or the non-debt side? There's only two economic classes: debt and non-debt. Debt-free and in debt. How do you choose? Either you trust the calculator or you don't. That's it. It really is that simple. You trust the calculator or you don't. If you trust the calculator, you'll know you can't buy a house with a mortgage. You'll know right away. Why? Because the calculator says you're not a homeowner. You think I would have never in a million years guessed that I couldn't be a homeowner with a 30-year mortgage had I not looked fear in the face and said, I'm quitting. I don't care people calling me crazy. Oh my God, you worked all those years, you quit a 6-figure job. I sure did. Why? Because I'm no longer a debt slave. I'm free. I own myself. I own me. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's Q&A Sunday. I'm not sure what time I will be on, but yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys have a good night. Later.